just before 2020, like at the end of 2019, like very coincidentally, I started toying around with Unity just before the pandemic hit. Like perfect timing, because when I stopped doing film stuff, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna be doing inside by myself all day? So the answer, of course, was make video games. So today I'm gonna be going over the games that I've made since this all started, which was 2 years ago now. Jesus fucking Christ. But these are like games that I actually did a lot of work on. There are a handful of games and test projects and all sorts of little things that I've built since then that are not gonna be included in here because I either don't have the project files anymore or they're just uninteresting, just insignificant. So without further ado, let's play the actual things that are of some substance that you could see gameplay of. COVID VR Flatten the Curve was my first big attempt at making a game. You can see this open world here with this airport and this little city. Over there in the distance, there are other little islands. So this is not only one of the first games I ever made, but it's a VR game. So I didn't have any experience making games generally, let alone a VR game. But you know, to be honest, making a VR game isn't so different from making any other type of games. Really, one of the only differences is the controllers. So this game never really got finished, but the idea was that you have all these little islands filled with people, and somewhere in there is patient zero, the first person to get infected with COVID, and they start spreading it around, and the way they spread it is just by interacting with each other and going to do things like going to the movies or going to get some food and stuff like that. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to pick all these people up and throw them back into their homes. So you're literally this giant set of hands and you grab them like that. You see, and they wiggle around when you pick them up and everything. You could jug them around and you just throw them back in their homes because they're not social distancing. So you have to like force them to social distancing by literally just, picking them up and throwing them into the homes. I mean, it was really fun being able to just like grab them and then just hit them off. You can kind of like smack them up too and just, so this was a blast to build. And right here, I'm doing a little test of how the infection spreads. You can see that when they turn red, they touch each other. Being red is like being infected, so it just kind of starts spreading everywhere when they're in a little radius. And I had this whole system where they would get on planes and go to other islands. So it would just spread and you would never really be able to keep track of where it came from but I used to think that this was so cool that it was just like, like they're getting on a planes and then they get off a plane and then it's just, I don't know, it was so captivated by the idea of programming these little living beings flying around their own little world. And the thing is, this game never got finished, so there never was any audience reception. I never really heard anybody's opinions on this game because nobody ever fucking played it. And the thing that I do differently now, honestly, is just finish the damn thing. The way I designed this whole hospital system of hospitals being overloaded and stuff like that, I would do that pretty differently now. I think I'd use templates. Back then I wasn't using templates, I was just copying and pasting FSMs. So many things are just technical. All the things that I would do differently are just so technical. Overall, I give it a 0 out of 5 because it was never finished. This is Deluxe Super Papa Piss Cleaner 30. It was the first ever game that I made and finished, and I made this thing in 8 hours. So you have your little doggy here that follows you around, but then eventually your doggy goes around and just starts pissing all over the place. And so you're supposed to go over and spray it and just clean up all this piss. No, bad dog. No, right? And this just goes on infinitely, but meanwhile, you have this thesis paper to write. You just have to stand here and it works on it. And as long as I work on it, that little green bar starts going. You get some progress made, but all the while you have all this piss that you have to clean. Oh, also, your little doggy takes a nap. If your dog pisses too much, you lose. So you have to finish your thesis before there's too much dog piss. So you're constantly running back and forth between finishing your thesis and cleaning dog piss. So I originally made this game for my girlfriend who had this dog and was pissing all over the place while she was also trying to finish her thesis paper. So I made this for her birthday because I thought she would get a kick out of it. And this little doggy was like one of the first times I ever made something that I might call AI, however simple. As far as like how well it was received, I don't know, my friends thought it was funny, and my girlfriend, she wasn't crazy about it. She thought it was, maybe the sentiment was sweet, but she was also like, oh, I'm making like a joke out of her life, and so I can get where she's coming from. I didn't mean it that way, but that's valid.
What would I do differently now? I don't know, not much. I mean, besides a bunch of technical things, like the way this runs is actually totally fine. Like, what's crazy is that whenever you spray, there's actually these 2 giant pill colliders that pop up, and I would maybe use raycasts now. You know, mostly just technical things. There is an ending to this with a nice little end game screen. But yeah, I really I put my all into this one. This was like the first time I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, you know, I'm just gonna make a really simple game, like just make it super duper simple, and I'm gonna finish it, and it's gonna have a menu and everything, you know. I give this one a 3 out of 5. I like it. It's solid. The vibes are good. Everything basically works. All right, next up we have The Foxy Bitch. And this game was actually made for a game jam. Man, I just love this title screen so much. The soundtrack is made by Sunny Wong. This is such a jam. And the song that's playing right now, this is actually a super slowed down version of the main song that plays in the game. Man, and then this was also like the first time I put in like a cinematic or whatever, like an opening, this whole camera move, it like pulls back from like the nightclub sign, and you can see all the people start rolling in, camera starts swooping in. Yeah, putting in title cards and everything. This was my first time I ever tried my hand at like cinematics, I guess. And then it finally lands here into the first person mode. So basically, yeah, people start lining up, and they all start lining up out here, and I'm supposed to let them in one at a time. So if I click on them, it lets them in. So I click on them, lets them in. Click on them, let them in, let them in, let them in. Yeah, let them in, let them in. Okay, and they all start coming in. The thing is, some of them are sober and some of them are like super pissed drunk, and they all start heading over here. Yeah, I mean, I fucking went all out with this one too. Like, I learned about like lighting with cookies and everything, so I made this disco ball light that actually like lights everything up pretty proper. Made that disco ball like fucking crazy clutch. Put this like classical painting on the ceiling. Went bananas with the lights. So this thing does not run in the WebGL version. So yeah, like this person wants martini. I grab this martini and then I give it to them. That dude wants a beer, grab a beer, hand it to him. Okay, and then after they do that, they all hit the dance floor. So once they're sauced enough, they start dancing on the dance floor. So the point of the game is to get as many people as possible on the dance floor. And then once you have enough people dancing, it kind of queues up the next part of the track. So the song evolves as you get more people dancing on the dance floor. But then it devolves if people stop dancing. So this will calm down when people stop dancing as much. Oh, and then this too, they get into fights. If they're too fucked up, these dudes will start fighting. So he punches them and then he knocks them out. And then you end up with this like, this dead dude. You also have 2 items. You have this plate of cocaine, and then you have this syringe. And so this syringe you could use on people who are knocked out. So for the people who want cocaine, you'll see that they have little cocaine things above their head. Like this dude has cocaine. See, and they take a little snort, and they get all like hyped up. Snort, 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 snort. And like this line just keeps growing and growing and growing. You start letting all these people in. So the point of this game is to just get your nightclub, the Foxy Bitch, packed with people just dancing and partying their asses off. And what you have to do is you have to just feed all these people cocaine before they leave, because they're just gonna get tired, they're gonna wanna go home, but you just gotta keep giving them rails to hork, and they'll keep dancing. Like this dude wants to leave, but he's like, you know, he needs some coke, so if I just give him a little bump, takes that little bump, and then he goes right back in. That's right, man, get back to the dance floor. Safety with you. Where you going? No, night's not over, guys, night's not over. Get back in there, get back in there. That's right, that's right. Here we go, here we go. Yeah, yeah. Hey man, it's all good, it's all good. Just keep going. There we go, get back to the dance floor, boys. So yeah, that's the thing, is like people get into fights, they get knocked out. If you give them too much coke, they'll die. And then you have to use your little syringe to bring them back to life. See, like I just used a syringe on this guy, and then he gets back up. And if he's feeling all right, he'll just get back to dancing, or he'll go get another drink. Nah, you're good, man. You're good. You're just dancing. All right. Here, why don't you take another little bump, my dude? Why don't you take another little bump? That's right. That's right. Ooh, you're quick. You're quick with the moves, my dude. What would I do differently now? Man, so much. The thing is, this game is such a mess under the hood. It is a disaster. The big lesson I learned is like I tried cramming all of the player controls into like one FSM. All of the NPC behaviors into one FSM. Can you imagine one FSM for all that AI I just described? Like, nah. But honestly, it was a great learning experience for just all these other sort of design things. Yeah, again, just technical stuff, all the things I would do differently. I would also change it to, like, instead of having to click these little things, like right now, if I grab a beer, I have to click that little beer thing. I can't click the person. So you'd think you could click the person, but nah, you have to click the beer thing, and then they go away. So I'd change that. You know, I'd change a few little gameplay things. I'd give this a 3 out of 5 because it kind of holds together. Like, you can kind of play it, so I like it, but I can't give it anything more than a 3 out of 5 because it's just pretty broken, and also like all the scores for the vibes and it not being like a complete mess. So this is Killbook 69,000. Even though it says 6,900, I call it 69,000. This game was also made for a game jam. God, I fucking love making games for VR. I stayed up all night working on this game. I was up until 9 in the morning working on this game, trying to get it in before the deadline. This was for Valem's VR Jam. Such a blast making it. Again, soundtrack by Sonny Wong. Just a super kickin' jam. I told Sonny, like, yo, can you make a song like that Opal track? Yeah, so your laptop, you could turn it into a turret. So you can open the turret by pulling the trigger, and then the laptop folds out, puts out this gun, this giant turret, and then it gives you a little monitor that's mounted on the gun so you can see what you're shooting at, and then you can fire at these dudes. It's kind of like a horde game. You're just defending yourself from all these dudes that are trying to get to your top secret datas, right? So while these guys are coming, you're just trying to get your data all the way to 100%, and then you can go on to the next one, and you go through like 3 levels, and that's it. All the ceiling lights, they can change, so it kind of messes with your view and your perception of where these guys are. They can kind of hide in the dark, and they totally sneak up on you, and in VR, it's fucking crazy. I also made it so like when it does shoot, it ejects these little shells, so there's little like, you know, cylinders flying out. There's little, you can see all these like shells flying out. And I just loved the way it looked when I had this particle system set out, how all the little zeros and ones go from one computer to the laptop. That was just like probably one of my favorite parts. A lot of people responded well to that. And so the audience, the reception of this was decent. You know, a handful of people played it. They said they had a good time. They said like it looked cool, and a lot of people dug the zeros and ones, so that made me happy. But also it's just like, man, the controls for this turret, not intuitive. It's kind of like it was using the touchpad on the Vive controller, just it just didn't really work so well. That's probably one of the things that I would do differently. I would change the controls on the turrets. Instead of using the touchpad, I would use something that can kind of like make it feel more like a joystick. Maybe put in multiple elevators. But overall, I honestly, like, this barely got done. So there's not too much I would do. Oh, you know, and then another thing too is that like I copied and pasted FSMs all over this entire office. So each cubicle is like a copy paste. That's another thing I would do differently, is I would use FSM templates. Back then I was not using templates. Big mistake for a game that has a lot of copy paste work like this. I don't know, I'd pretty much make a lot of the same design choices, to be honest. I give this one a 3 out of 5. Again, it's like, I like it. It kind of gets the job done. The vibes are there. The vibes are like totally there. But it's just not complete, you know? It's not like a full picture. So I can't give it anything more than a 3 out of 5. All right, so now we have Controlla. This one was made for the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam. So the thing I really love about this one is that you can click all over the place, hit space, nothing happens, right? Controlla, you have to hit the control key to start it. So it says tap control to regain control of yourself, right? I don't have any control over my guy right now. He's just punching him. But if I tap control, I get control again. You can see my backpack is all red right now. But if I go in this little control zone, my backpack fills up with green. So see those guys? When they're out of control, they just start randomly punching things, just like I did back there. So what I'm gonna do is spray these guys down. And now they just dance around all happy and they turn blue.
Load agents into all 3 escape ships and get them to the mothership safely.
And that's exactly what you do. I lost control right now, right? What my guy is doing is he's running over to find somebody just to start punching them in the face. See, and that's what he does, and he'll just stay like that. I have to tap control, and then I get control back. If I let that go for too long, I just lose, and I permanently lose control. So meanwhile, I'm gonna spray all these guys down. Okay, turn these guys blue. Blue boys. I ran out of juice, so I have to go to one of these. Backpack fills up. So every time I turn them blue, they go into one of these spaceships. There's 3 of them, and you can see on the side of the screen there's these 3 spaceships over here, right? Those are cameras that follow each of these spaceships. And what I want to do, if I hold shift and control, I could see the camera that's tied to this spaceship. If I let go, I come back over here to my guy. So I have this camera and this camera. So when I'm controlling the spaceship, I have to head to the center of this box. So I have to get here safely, come on. But I have to dodge all these rings, because if these rings hit me, the spaceship blows up. Come on. Come on.
Escape successful.
And the thing is, when I'm down here, you can see that camera, the spaceship autopilots. Oh shit. Oh, this one might not make it. This one might not make it. Come on. Oh, nope, I lost that one.
Escape failed.
I had a lot of fun making the particles. This was the first time I was really working with the particle system in a way that, like, trying to like make a little liquid, but as well as the particle system for the spaceships. The reception of this one, also, there wasn't much of a reception. The thing is, I didn't make it in time to submit. I did finish on time, but I didn't submit in time. So I didn't really hear too much back about this game. I was actually really proud of this one too. I thought it was a pretty crazy idea, but overall, even my friends were kind of like, what? Like, how do you play? The things I do differently now, let's get this last ship in, come on. Get in there, come on. There we go. And then had this little end credit sequence. So yeah, the things I would do differently now would be, I would change maybe the player controls. They feel a little strange. Yeah, just a lot of technical things. Again, the way I'd organize things. Like, really, the theme here is that, like, as you make more games, you're gonna learn better and better ways to do the same thing. Cleaner ways, like more scalable ways. Ways that don't give you a total headache when you're making them. Overall, I give this one a 4 out of 5 because I think it's actually kind of crazy. I actually really like this one a lot. Having one character punching while the other one is playing the getting punched animation and having that sync up, that was a whole thing. And like on top of all that, like I finished it. You could beat the game and you could lose the game. It's a proper game loop. So 4 out of 5. Next up, we have Dream Diver. This game was made for a game jam and it is arguably the most complete and big and batshit crazy game that I've made in a 48-hour time span. I mean, this game even has a how to play. I made a how to play video for the game jam, and you hit go to sleep to play the game. Has an original score by Sunny Wong again. So the thing about this game is it's like Inception. You're in this train station, right? You find this red guy, and you plug him with a sedative that sends you into his dream. And when you're in his dream, you have to find him again and repeat the process. And it's about how many layers deep you can get inside of that dream. So right now you can see in the top left-hand corner it says 1 dream deep, right? So this arguably is a dream, this space that we're in. So the thing is, you click to shoot a sedative, and if you shoot the blue guys, they pop, and they give you more sedatives. So these are pickups, okay? They also give you little power-ups, like this stopwatch, slows down time, okay? Or that running man, makes you run faster. But if you click and hold, you'll see that this number goes up, right? But if you right-click, it cancels it. So the thing is, you have to watch how much of your sedative you have. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, I only have 30 shots left. Each shot is equal to 1 second. So if I plug him with a 10 dose, he's gonna be asleep for 10 seconds. Now what's nice is that actually, since we're on the first level, I get 30 shots for free. So I'm just gonna give him the full 30 shot. Okay, plug him in his back. And now we're in his dream where he's falling. We have to find him. There he is. I'm gonna charge a shot. I'm gonna give him... Oh, I missed it, fuck. You know what, I may as well just wait this one out. So you can see the ground rushing at us right now. I'm just gonna hit the floor and wake up. So that woke him up because he was in a scary dream, so now he's waking up and we're back to 1 dream deep. Okay, let me try this again. So this dream type is him locked in a bathroom, and you have to defuse this bomb. Now, this dream type was not in the Game Jam version. This one I added for the sort of premium version that I'm selling on itch. And what you do here is enter color of text. Press E to display the code. So it's green, red, red, red. You'd be tempted to put green, red, 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 red. But what you're actually supposed to do is put the color of the text. So it's actually yellow, blue, red, green. So that's yellow, blue, red, green. Then it opens, and then I can plug him with a shot. But our time was actually about to run out on our last guy, so he's actually about to wake up. You see the guy that we shot out here? His time is going even slower than it was before, and he's gonna wake up in 0 seconds. That brings us all the way back to this. So you just keep going deeper and deeper into their dreams. Dirty shot, right? He's gonna go to sleep for 60 seconds. You see that? He has 60 seconds on the clock because we're experiencing time at half speed since we're in his dream. And now this guy, he's asleep for 1 minute and 35 seconds because his time got cut in half as well. Shit. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna make this one. I gotta plug him with something. Come on. Okay, now this guy's dreaming of being chased by a chainsaw murderer. I gotta get some extra ammo though, because I'm running out. Don't catch him, don't catch him. All right, I got 35. Let me just plug him up. Come on, stay still. Come on, stay still, stay still. Okay, we're in another falling dream. Gotta collect these ammo. Come on, gimme. There's so much to say about this game. The logic of it was insane to program. This whole how deep you are in a dream stuff, changing how the time gets processed. The clock on the right shows you the time left for the person who's gonna wake up soonest. So even if you're 10 dreams deep, it'll be pulling the time from the person who has the lowest amount of time relative to how much sedative you gave them versus how many layers deep you are in that dream. It's insane, but it actually is stable, and yeah, I'm really proud of this one. That's why I expanded on it and put it on itch. Overall, what would I change? Because this game uses a lot of the code from the original Game Jam version, it's not nearly as modular and templatized as I would like. So if I ever want to add new features and dreams and stuff like I did for this premium version, it's a little bit more work than I would prefer. I think I would design it differently just so it'd be a little easier to add more dream types and more features. But what can I say? I made it for a game jam, so I had to get it working more than anything. I didn't have time to think about the future of this game. The audience reception of this game has been amazing. It's been one of my most well-received things. A bunch of people have played it. A bunch of people have told me how much they dug it. I've seen people play it, and just seeing people go crazy running around this train station. A lot of super crazy and funny moments come out of people playing this game. It's definitely my most well-received thing I've made. And it always makes me want to keep adding onto it just because of how much people have dug it. Out of 5, I would give this a 4 out of 5. It's a full game loop, you know? And I didn't even mention that the soundtrack changes depending on how many dreams deep you are. So on this level, this song plays, but then as you get lower, it pitches down, and a version of the song that's like more orchestral kind of cues in. It follows the same sort of logic of the Hans Zimmer score in Inception. That was so fun to program. And it was surprisingly easy to program too. So when I got that working, it was just so fucking cool. It's honestly awesome. I love when the full orchestral version is kicked in all the way. You're like 10 dreams deep, and it's just this ominous sound. Again, soundtrack by Sunny Wong. So yeah, I love this thing. 4 out of 5. All right, so those are the handful of games that I've made over the last couple years. But during the last year, I have been working on one big project called Memories of a Spy. That's what you're seeing on screen right now. So if you're interested in seeing where Memories of a Spy is currently at, definitely click on this playlist here.